you very much for staying with us at Plus TV Africa, Nigeria Decides Studio. So this is a season of political debates. Political debates are considered as a key part of the campaign outreach in many democracies today, particularly in context where voters have limited information on candidates, and publicizing debates may impact electoral outcomes.
Yes, of course, because debates can reveal information about candidates, policy positions, their qualifications and competence, and their personalities, most importantly. We still have in the studio Nejeeb Bello with us. He's a public affairs analyst, and joining us is Abiola Salami. He's a convener of Speak Like a Champion. Good evening.
Good evening.
It's good to have you join us.
Thank you for having me.
You're still here with us.
Yeah.
So, when you talk about debates, people wonder, what's the importance of a debate? Why is it even necessary? But looking at the necessity, in 2015, a bill seeking to empower INEC to conduct presidential debates for 2015 elections was voted against, guess who? By the Senate. And we're in 2019. We still haven't heard anything about it. So my question is, why? Does it mean that these debates are not necessarily important, or it wasn't just important at the time? Salami.
Okay, for me. It's important to know that communication is the language of leadership.
Okay.
So for the leaders who declined the approval of such a very important bill, we should ask certain questions. Is it about their level of competence? Is it that they have some concerns that if they are put on the floor that they may flaw themselves? You know, these are questions to ask. Communication is the language of leadership, and you cannot afford not to maximize every opportunity you have to engage with the electorate, to engage with the voting public, to engage with the people that you've led or that you are leading. So it begins with perhaps the debate, but it doesn't even end with that. It is about broad spectrum communication, so that you leave the communication lines open so that you are engaging from time to time. So they see your face, they hear from you, not that you're sending somebody to do it on your behalf, because that is the way to connect with any individual, with any human being. And people want to be inspired by leadership. People want to be instructed by leadership. People want to hear and know what the next thing to be done is. And the tool to achieving that is communication.
You said something, I'm sorry, David, you said something at the beginning that the people who were supposed to push it, or the people who put a stop to it, are the people who must have had fears. But you see, the incredible thing is that they were senators. This debate was for presidents and candidates who wanted to run for the office of the president. And at the time, I do not remember anybody in the Senate who wanted to run for. So what could have been responsible for that? It still beats me. But then again, how come we're waiting till 2019 to ask these questions? Young people are pushing every day. Oh, we want this and we want that. But we fail to address the key issues that one way or the other affect us.
You know, the politics of Nigeria is about what favors your principle. At that point in time, most of the senators were APC senators, and I think their concern was for their principle, and if they expected him to be in a debate. I feel that kind of affected the way they voted back then. I'm sure now that things have changed up in the National Assembly. If that bill had come back, like you said, we forgot about it, but if that bill had come back towards maybe the end of 2018, it may have had a better vote. Because right now, a lot of them really want to even see the president debate. But then, I think the time for that has passed.
We also look at, when we are comparing our democracy and how much we've grown, we look at the likes of America, which is almost an epitome of democracy, apart from recent happenings and all of those. But we look at conversations that were held between Hillary Clinton and then current President Donald Trump. You saw those sort of deliveries. And then you now come back a little bit to Great Britain and you see the Prime Minister, Theresa May, still pushing the agenda for Brexit. These are conversations, these are debates, these are modes of communications, these are outreach platforms that are supposed to make or break you in terms of gathering support for your hopes and aspirations. So don't you think that in Nigeria today we still don't appreciate that these debates are a necessity for us to have our democracy grow? Because some people say, well, debates don't translate to votes.
Okay, see, again, I refer to that statement that communication is a language of leadership. It is important for leaders to make this happen, as no matter how much we clamor for it, like he said, no matter how much we clamor for it, it is meant for leaders to see the importance of this and ensuring that whatever policy that is approved and promoted doesn't have anything to do with, does this favor me or favor my side or not? It's about what should the people get. I think that whether a debate is convened by INEC or not, there are other platforms that are even ready and open. I mean, just last weekend, there was some platform that presidential, the platform rather, that gubernatorial aspirants in Lagos gathered. That was an opportunity. There are several other opportunities, while not undermining the power and import of the INEC policy, right? But there are other platforms as well. How well are we doing with those platforms? How many states do we have in Nigeria? 36 states. How many states has this happened? Only one state. The 35 states to go.
Well, in Rivers State, that in 2015, the very first governorship debate was done, which you had the now maritime guy, what's his name, Dakuku Peter side, you had Prince something from the Labour Party, you had Governor Wike, who's now the governor. And for some people, there were skeptics who thought that, okay, these people might not be very good at that debate, but it turned out great, you know.
Yes.
And some of the promises that were made during that debate are still being held up till tomorrow. People still say, oh, Mr. Governor, you said you were going to do this and you're going to do that. And why haven't you done it? So you somewhat bring some accountability to the fore.
Exactly.
So I don't know. I mean, the Obama campaign, yes, we can, was a thing, you know, across the world because even while he was debating, he kept using that slogan. But I think in Nigeria, it has been said that candidates are more interested in perfecting their campaign strategy to enable them occupy Aso Rock, other than, and then they're less concerned with the debates because, you know, those debates for them don't necessarily win them vote. Do you feel the same? And do you think that this is true?
Well, aside from Lagos also and
Port Harcourt, the River State.
Osun did have governorship debates, and it really exposes a lot about the candidates. You know, if you can't communicate as a leader, there is a problem. Even in Nigeria, we've experienced a problem where for almost 3 years, our leader didn't communicate with us till now that we are heading towards elections. I believe that if we are going to proceed, improve our democracy, we need to take debates more seriously. The electorate have not shown that debates should be a focus. A lot of times we've seen presidents say, I'm not going to participate in this debate. And at the end of the day, they rack up votes. But then if you look at the kind of issues that are brought up, there are some things we are trying to hold the president to today that he says, oh, I didn't say that. Or maybe you saw it on a billboard or some other person, you know. But when you have a debate and these issues are raised and you say, I am going to do this, we're going to we will keep pushing you on those promises you made during your debate. So we should take it more seriously.
Abiola.
Yes.
Now, another issue that we find out, yes, we are having some pockets of debates here and there, and that's a good development, although we are not yet up there where we should be. But at the end of the day, we find out that the ruling and then the opposition parties always benchmark their successes or what they want to do based on what the previous government has done. You always see that referral in almost all of the debates and conversation. Well, during the PDP era, they didn't do this, we are doing this. During the APC era, they didn't do this, we are doing this. So that back and forth, to me, is unnecessary. We are supposed to be looking at advanced clients. We're supposed to reach out better than
what we're
referring
doing.
to failures.
Exactly. I agree with you, because the conversations should be issue-based, right? Not about the failure of one and whatever the other party thinks that they are successful at. And that still comes back to communication, because that comes back also to the interests of the candidates and the interests of the party, and communicating clearly to the people, to the voting public. So there are campaign slogans. There are things that people make promises that is only on billboards and on posters and perhaps using the electronic media as well. But it is more convincing when you engage one-on-one and your focus is on what you want to do.
Debates are coming on Saturday, and then this likely trend would replicate itself, don't you think?
Unfortunately, that may happen. Unfortunately. And when we're talking about communication and leadership, it is not even only about the debate during election period. It is also about opening the lines of communication all through the administration. Because I think that even if we have a debate and we scale through this, so what happens to us after now? So it is important to know that we need to get leadership. We need to get leaders to start to really truly communicate. Not just about fighting each other, not just about blaming each other, not about playing the blame game, which is what practically happened in the first 2, 3, or even till last year. You know, always saying the reason this is not working is because some guys did this. Hey, tell us yours. Tell us what you are doing or what you want to do. We're not interested in the limitations, as it were. But even if you want to share with us, engage and share.
Okay. Now, so I have had to talk with a couple of people on issues of debate, and they say, that thing doesn't really matter. But then, what should we be prioritizing when we are looking out for debates, or when we watch debates, or when we attend debates? Because you see, there's a thing that happens during debates. A couple of people are more impressed by oratory. Some other people are more impressed by the content of your message. So what should we be fascinated by? I don't know, it's going to be a difference of opinion, I don't know. Should we be looking at the plans, the manifesto? Is it the oratory, the confidence? What are the things that should, you know, characterize our reason for wanting this person as a choice candidate? Okay,
great. When I watched the platform debate for Lagos State governorship, there's a candidate, Badamosi.
Yes,
Babatunde Badamosi. And what people loved about him was that he made his solutions very clear.
I was smitten.
Very clear. And most of the time, he didn't use up the entire 1 minute or 90 seconds.
He was spot on.
Exactly. He just dropped the information, and it made logic to most people who were watching. And those are the kind of things, you know, we go about Lagos sometimes and we ask ourselves, can't they just do this like this? You know, and those were the things he just said. Bring in these trucks, move in this thing, recycle. That's it. So if you understand the problem completely, that's something that differentiates professors from our regular lecturers. Our lecturers could use like 500 sheets of paper trying to explain something to you, but our professors will come and just tell you, this is what it is, and you will understand it. So when you are concise, it means that you've gone through the problem, you've simplified it. So those are the things we should be looking for: how concise you are, what the kind of solutions you bring in, not just grammar of, oh, they've not done well, we are going to do well. What exactly are you going to do?
But there are candidates who are really sleek and concise and have great research teams. Yes, very amazing research teams. They work with young people. You know, everything on paper is great. But when it comes to the true test of that leadership, they score 0.
Please, can I say something? When Buhari or Shibanjo were contesting, were campaigning in 2015, they made some promises. And even though we were campaigning with them and for them, we asked some questions. How are you going to do it? Because Oshibanjo told us that the whole problem Nigeria has is because some people are stealing money. Once they plug those loopholes, there will be so much money, we'll just solve all the problems. And someone asked him, a friend of mine asked him, sir, how much is the money that is being stolen? What's your estimate of the money? Because if it's like 20 trillion per year, then we know that once we have that 20 trillion. So he was unable to provide those answers. So if these people nobody wants to leave the country suffering. When Oshibanjo also told us 10,000 megawatts per year, that's what they are going to deliver, he told us at a studio. And we asked him, how are you going to, if he had told us he'll bring private investors, that's how you do it. And for you to bring in private investors, you must deregulate the price of power. So if you have those solutions, the real solutions, there's no reason why you won't implement it. It's when you come and you just make flowery presentations and say, we are going to give everybody AC.
And you know, Marianne, in our previous conversations, that was one of the questions I was asking, the how.
Exactly.
That's the convincing button you would definitely press.
And now to take, in addition to what he said, that some people, they have clearly made plans and they deliver it well as well. They are, from the theoretical point of view, that is also practical. I just want to say something, and that's about the rhetoric triangle in communication. There's something called ethos, there's pathos, there's logos. Logos is the thing that you say, which is you are well prepared, you are concise, you keep it short, sweet, and simple. You know, you are competent, you swerve everybody what you are saying. That is the words, right? Ethos is about your character, your integrity. What people that are listening to you, what they know about you before now, the things that you have probably done before, not just what you are saying. Then pathos is the way that you show that you really care for the people listening to you. So it is good to have a great plan, but it is not good enough for a persuasive communication. You have a great plan, but where are you coming from? Who are you? And by who are you, people are not necessarily asking, have you ruled before? People are asking, have you experienced leadership before? It doesn't matter whether the leadership is just for leadership of a home, leadership of a business somewhere, leadership of some street or community, or even landlords association of your estate, right? Have you experienced leadership before? So based on what you've experienced before, the traits of that leadership, then you are sharing a great plan, then we can have some hope that what you're saying will be implemented. Because it is said that talk is cheap, but talk is only cheap when there's no integrity to back it up.
And talking about talk being cheap, in Nigeria today, don't you think we're supposed to be building structures and benchmarks to be able to assess that in the first 100 days you were able to tick X, Y, Z? Because at the end of the day, when we are doing all of the countdowns, this was the first 100 days of President Muhammadu Buhari, he did X, Y, Z, he didn't do X, Y, Z. We always just say those things in passing. So don't you think we should develop some structure, some mechanism to be able to have all of this assessment so that we don't say the usual language, we are late or it's a work in progress? Your thoughts?
I think there's something called the Buhari Meta or something like that, that measured from the moment he entered office. You see, one of the strangest things I saw when Buhari became president, after swearing in, May 29th, after swearing in by June 6th, 2015, the National Assembly had resumed, and I expected that he would have sent the list with the urgency they had told us that, see, there's a big problem we need to solve. I thought he would have transmitted a list for his cabinet to the Senate, and even when they saw it, first day resumption, we are getting this list, they'll just act on it but he just relaxed, and you know, a lot of water went under the bridge and nothing happened. But I think there are people who have been keeping tabs, and I'm sure this is about time we start digging up those facts and
digging up the facts. Now it takes me to my next question. In 2007, presidential debate, the now president appeared for that debate. He was then a candidate. He was part of the conversation, interesting perspective. But in 2015, he didn't show up.
Listen.
He snubbed it. He didn't miss it. He snubbed it. He did not show up. Now, yesterday, we had that presidential chat or town hall meeting. And there's so many people, you know, with different perspectives on it. Is this another indication that, hey, I've addressed you, so I don't need to come to the debate? Is this another indication that he might snub this year's? Again, could this also be a pattern of sorts? Should we be worried as to maybe he would show up?
I think he will most likely not show up. There have been excuses from his party. I think he came for this town hall meeting in order to escape the debate, because, like I said, from what I saw yesterday night, if he comes to stand with other candidates, Yele Sowore, Kingsley Moghalu, Obi Ezekwesili, Fela Durotoye, and even Atiku himself, with what we saw yesterday, where just a basic conversation like you and I are having, he most times Yemi Osinbajo had to defend him, had to block him from somewhere. And the few ones he took, which were supposed to be his areas of strength, he fumbled
So
in
standing
some of
alone,
them.
you don't
Exactly.
think?
Standing alone without the vice president and standing against other candidates, he would really
So
struggle a lot.
how do we erase this situation of I didn't say it, when did you hear it, where did you hear it from? How can we tell what we're going to be voting for, who we're going to be voting for, and what changes you're willing to make because of the mistakes you've made in the past 3 years?
Perhaps after all of this, after the election and all the dust has settled down, we may need to push for that bill. A lot of us didn't follow up on the bill, and we didn't care much. But I think now we should push for the bill after the election. We should ensure that something is done about it.
Well, but I also think that it is not limited. The bill shouldn't be limited to the election debates. I think there should also be a bill that requires the president and other leaders to have, and it is a must, capital letter, bold, underlined, that is a must that from time to time that there should be a conversation.
Like State of the Nation kind
Exactly.
of thing?
Exactly. That there should be a conversation with the electorates, with the people, with the citizens. Right? There should be a conversation. Make it once a quarter, make it once a year. There should be a conversation. And that conversation is not coming to read a speech. That conversation shouldn't be prepared speech. That conversation should even have whoever the leader is having his
Come
sleeves
from the top
rolled
of
up,
your head.
right? Rolled up and engage with people. It is about engagement, not just about reading a speech to people. That is one. Two,
Yeah.
I also think that there should also be something that we should promote to let leaders realize that even when it is not that periodic engagement, when you are going to give a presentation somewhere in 21st century, it shouldn't be always about a speech that you are going to read, right? It should be something that you know and you are aware of in engaging with people. The communication is the language of leadership. And as far as Nigeria is concerned, we are very backward in that. You have leaders that will come with a prepared speech to read. At times when there's even a screen, you can see the person's eyeballs moving from left to right. And you know that the person is reading a speech. Communication is the language of leadership. If you want to be a leader, one basic skill that you should have is communication.
Nejeeb, now we are talking about the presidential debate, and a whole lot of focus and emphasis is on the president and the vice president. But power doesn't just lie between these two, away from the center or the top. We also have our state governors and the local government
Yes.
chairman and all of those. We are not as selective when it comes to these other personalities, and we are saying we need more issue-based politics in Nigeria. What should we be doing now to also shift the attention and put these other state and individual actors on point? Because at the end of the day, we'll just shift the blame to the top and then forget that little drops of water make a mighty ocean.
Yeah, I will resort to the president's line of argument. The press, I think the media has a role to play in letting people know who all these other players are. Most times, like right now, a lot of Lagosians don't know their local government councillors. A lot of them don't know who is commissioner of this or commissioner of that.
House of Rep.
Yes. So I think it's a duty for the press. I took a picture today around Alausa in Ikeja. There's like a street light that's fallen down, and it's been like that for almost 3 months. Nobody, and I know it's not the job of the governor to come and put that pole properly. There should be someone. And when we are reporting issues in the news, most times we say, oh, there's no water in Agege. What is Ambode doing? I think we should try and find out who these people are. If it's to scroll it down some of our television stations, just to let people know that, oh, this is the local government council of this area. This is the person running for House of Assembly. We need to just give
Nejeeb, I want to
more
disagree with you a
publicity.
little bit. You see, the truth is, if we do not have local government, I mean, I don't remember, maybe a few states are still doing local government government elections, but these days they're handpicked and their monies are also shortened. It's not as, they don't have the power to do their jobs. In fact, I was saying this some days ago, when I read through the Constitution and realized that there were so many things states were doing that were not their responsibility.
Yes.
I was disappointed. So again, can you really not say what is Ambode doing when the local government chairman in himself has been
Doesn't
pushed
know
into
what
a
he's
corner?
supposed to do.
Exactly.
Let me say something. In Lagos, we had to push a lot for Ambode to decide that I am going to run the local government elections. And also, if we continue to push this local government chairman to say, what have you done? What have you done? It will get to a point they'll say, Oga, they want to kill me. I need to do something. So if we just stay silent, there were times we stayed silent and they put local government administrators and we did nothing. But when we kept complaining that you must have these elections, you must do it, and people were really complaining all over the state, that's when they decided, oh, they would run the election. So I think if we keep putting on that pressure, there are a lot of things we've pressed on for Nigeria that the government has come through. So I think we should put pressure on them.
Okay, well, we run out of time. I wish we could have more questions on this issue, but we have to go. Thank you so much, Nejeeb Bello, Public Affairs Analyst, Abiola Salami, convener, Speak like a Champion. Thank you so much for being here, gentlemen. Interesting conversation.
And hopefully our presidential candidates will speak like champions.
Hopefully, because communication is the key.
It's the language of leadership.
The language of leadership.
I like that statement. Well, we'll take a quick break now, and when we come back, the conversation continues with Nigeria Decides. Just stay put.